Welcome to Veteran Resource Podcast, where you will meet nonprofit organizations focused on improving the lives of veterans and their family members. Here is your host, Jeremy Paris.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 103 of the Veteran Resource Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Paris. It has been a great week so far. I was interviewed on Monday by Blaine Smith for the Eagle Nation podcast, and once that comes out, I'll make sure that I let you all know and give you the link so you can go and check that out. On Tuesday, I was interviewed by Timothy Lawson for the VA podcast, and that one will be coming out this Friday, I believe. So when that comes out, I will let you know. I'll give you a link, and you can check that out as well. During that interview with Tim, he mentioned that I had gone over the 100 mark for episodes, and that is pretty impressive for a podcast. The majority of podcasters out there, they start off strong and they hit a certain point and then they die and they just close it down or they stop altogether. But I am dedicated. I'm on a mission to get the word out about veteran nonprofit organizations to all of you amazing listeners so that you can learn about them the same way that I'm learning about them. Okay, I want you all to do me a favor here. If you feel that you are getting something out of this podcast, please go and check out my Patreon page. Go to patreon.com/Jeremy Paris. That's patreon.com/Jeremy Paris. That's all one word. And once you go there, you'll learn how you can become a patron of this podcast. For just a couple dollars a month, you can get access to different rewards. So far, I've got a $2 reward, I've got a $5 reward, and then I've got a $10 reward. I've also got one specifically for sponsors, but for the most part, it's only a few dollars every month. But if you feel that there's a reward out there that I don't have listed that you would be interested in, let me know about it. Let me know what you think I should have up there, and I'll try to see what I can do for you. I really appreciate anything that you can do to help out the podcast. It really means a lot, and it will help me to keep this podcast going and help you to learn more about all of these amazing organizations that are around you every single day. Okay, on today's episode, we have John Valentine from Operation Phantom Support. This is a cool organization down in Texas, and I would give you a rough idea of what they do, but they're doing so many things to help veterans, military members, and their families. So you're going to have to dive into the episode and listen to get a feel for all of the amazing things that they have going on. But in a nutshell, they supply services and programs specifically for veterans, military members, and their families. Pretty general. You'll see why when you listen. John Valentine was born at Great Lakes, Illinois Naval Hospital. His father was a naval officer. He grew up all over the United States. John entered the Army on 11 September 1990 and retired after 20 years and 20 days of service on 30 September 2010. He attended basic training at Fort Leonardwood, Missouri, where he also attended his first advanced individual training as a 12 Bravo combat engineer. He reclassified into the MOS 91 Gulf Behavioral Science Specialist, which is now 68 X-ray Mental Health Specialist. Operation Phantom Support's mission statement reads, "We are dedicated to assisting active military service members, veterans who served honorably, and their family by providing programs and services to those in need." You are going to find out so much more about John and this awesome organization in the interview, so let's jump right into it now. John, welcome to the Veteran Resource Podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Jeremy. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, I'm excited to find out more about Operation Phantom Support. So, let's jump into it. Let's find out, why don't you tell me just a brief description of what the organization is?
Well, basically, we're just a military nonprofit that helps active duty military and veterans with honorable discharges, and it's basically day-to-day living assistance. So we have a few programs that just basically help soldiers and veterans make it paycheck to paycheck and help sustain their family a little bit better. So it's kind of it's a work in progress, but that's kind of what we do.
Very cool. Very cool. I'll be digging a little bit deeper into that in a minute, but before we do that, I wanted to kind of get a little bit about your background. What can you tell me about yourself, John?
Well, I am a 20-year Army veteran. Came in the Army in 1990, retired in 2010.
Oh, nice.
Did multiple deployments. I had over 7 deployments throughout the world, different Bosnia trips, Afghanistan, Iraq, Somalia, Haiti, Kuwait, stuff like that. Stayed busy, but I was also a military brat growing up. My father served 21 years in the Navy. So I've been involved in the military my entire life. And, one thing led to another and just kind of pushed me down this trail after I separated from service. I was a medic. I was a combat engineer when I first came in. Then I transferred over to be a medic with a mental health background and did some other things to help soldiers on deployments and do those things like that. So it just it kind of culminated into where we're at now.
Wow. And so, okay, once you got out, did you immediately start up Operation Phantom Support, or was this something that kind of evolved over time?
Well, here's how when I first got out, I was a drill instructor at a juvenile detention center to help troubled youth try to get their life straightened out. But I was on the board of directors of another charity that helps soldiers and veterans with different things. And then they asked me to open up I don't want to say it. It was like one of their little sub-stores / thrift stores down here to help them raise money. And then when I did that, I kind of saw how Fort Hood in the Central Texas area needed something a little different. So I basically proposed to the board to let me change the concept of what the charity did. They didn't want to do that. So then I in turn bought them out. I paid for everything that they had spent to get the charity set up down here. And then I just reflagged and renamed it and started in 2014. So it wasn't the first thing I did when I got out. I worked for a couple of years. I was on, did some other things. But my passion was always there because I always wanted to pay it forward to the soldiers that are in there now and the veterans that needed our help when they got out. So it was always what I wanted to do. And actually, that kind of just gave me the push to get my feet in there and go. So that's kind of what I did.
Oh, that's really awesome. Really cool.
Yeah, it turned out really good. So, yeah.
And so you mentioned at the beginning who is eligible to actually receive benefits from Operation Phantom Support, but I'm not sure. Did you? Well, I guess let's just kind of go through that. Who is eligible? Is this just for post 9/11 veterans, or is this for all veterans?
No, it's for all active duty military, all branches, all ranks. We don't have a rank requirement, a deployment requirement, an injury requirement, just that they're actively serving. And the veteran status is just that they got out with an honorable discharge. They could have done 2 years, 25 years, 8 years. Doesn't matter their branch, rank, their era. What matters is they served their country and they did it honorably. So then we want to help them and continue to help their families, progress and become better, in society and in what they're doing. So there's no other requirement than just either being active duty or being an honorable veteran.
Very cool. And where are you guys located?
We're in Central Texas. We're actually about 2 minutes right outside of Fort Hood, Texas. So we're in a pretty heavily saturated area. There's about 45,000 plus active duty soldiers on Fort Hood. And then you got close to 100,000 veterans in the Central Texas area, which is about a 100-mile radius around Fort Hood. So it's pretty heavy saturated down here. So we got a lot of work we do all the time as far as helping soldiers and veterans. So it keeps us really busy.
Oh, wow. And are you strictly helping out just in that geographic area, or do you guys go further out than that?
Right now, it's just a geographic area because what we're trying to do is make sure the foundation of the nonprofit is really strong before we start putting what our goal is. My long-term goal as the CEO and founder is to eventually start having chapters that can pop up near other military installations across the country, like, Operation Phantom Support, Fort Campbell, or Operation Phantom Support, Norfolk Navy Base. So it's basically build chapters that can start with the same concept we have to help these soldiers and veterans with their day-to-day living, but grow it so that we can be more effective and do more. But I'm really, I'm taking my time to make sure that this foundation, this nonprofit is built and we can sustain. And then we've got a good footprint and a good continuity book, so to speak, to give to the next guy who wants to step up and do one so that they're ready to go and they don't run into as many problems as we did in the beginning. So, yeah.
Oh, that's great. Great idea.
Yeah, so that's the big plan. So, yeah.
You don't want to spread out too fast.
Right. You don't want to spread yourself too thin and then have too many obligations other places. Now, funny you mentioned, we are getting ready to open up another thrift store, which is our Sergeant Levon Ritter Support Troops Resale Center. It's like a resale center where soldiers, people can donate to us like they do at any other nonprofit that helps, and then we sell stuff in the thrift store. But I got a chapter of that's going to get open up in Iowa here in the next couple of months. So, because the mother of the fallen soldier that we named the store after actually wants to open one up in her hometown, so we're going to help her do that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so we're starting slow. We're probably just going to start with that. Like thrift stores will pop up here and there, and then eventually, like a home base, like I said, we'll start up there, and they can start to grow their nonprofit, and they'll just be parented under us. So.
And speaking of that, the thrift store, that is just one of many things that you guys offer. So let's kind of talk about some of your projects that you have going on.
Well, we currently, at this moment, have 9 programs. All right. So the first program, of course, being the Sergeant Ilan Ritter Support Your Troops Resale Center, which is basically a thrift store where soldiers and the populated people can donate to us, and then we sell everything in the store. Because I like to call it my for-profit business for the nonprofit, because we're a brick and mortar. So we have bills. We're not like a lot of other nonprofits that are just on the websites and just, they're just web-based. We have a brick and mortar location. So we have a rent, electric bill, phone and internet bills, all that stuff. So the store helps us cover most of our administrative costs for the nonprofit when we're working. So it's really convenient. Another program we have is called Operation Phantom Cakes. It's a birthday cake program that we provide free birthday cakes for soldiers and veterans for their children. So if they're having a tight month and they can't go buy a nice birthday cake or whatever the situation might be, we have a program in place for them to come get a free birthday cake. And I'm not talking about just like a sheet cake saying happy birthday on it. My volunteers are actual baking students, a lot of them. So they do the fondant and they, do a SpongeBob cake, or they can do a, Hello Kitty cake or whatever. So they try to give these families a really enjoyable birthday party celebration for their children. And then they can save the money. Instead of buying the cakes, they can spend it on the presents or the other activities for the kids. It's also an organizational program. So like, for instance, a soldier gets promoted from sergeant to staff sergeant or whatever. They can request a cake for their promotion ceremony for free, so that we can do a nice cake for them for their promotion ceremony. Because as we know, when you get promoted, you don't get paid for the promotion till the next month. So you don't have any extra money until the next month. So, but things like that. So that's what that program does. Then we have Operation Welcome Home, which is a program that helps units when they come back from deployment, or to support their soldiers or single soldiers in the barracks, to make sure that there's linens and there's food and stuff in the refrigerator and drinks when they get back, so they're not coming to an empty, dorm room, so to speak. So they got something in there at least to look forward to. It also helps with organizational parties. So when they're doing like an organizational day or a barbecue, we help them get all the stuff for that, to help subsidize their costs for their FRGs and their units that are doing stuff there. Then we have Operation Monkeywrench, which is our car repair program. That program is set in place. Now, this program isn't free. This is one of those programs where the soldier and the veteran have to put forth some effort. But the program breaks down like this. The soldier takes his vehicle to get an estimate done. The estimate gets done. It's sent back to us. Let's say the estimate comes back as a $1,000 repair. The soldier then donates 30% of that cost to the nonprofit, and then the nonprofit and the shop take care of the other 70%. So basically, the soldier saves 70% on his car repair. Between us and the shop, we save the soldier 70% on their repair, so they can get their car back on the road. There are some other requirements. It's got to be their primary vehicle. It can't be like their project car or something like that. It's got to be something that affects their day-to-day living. So that's another big important program that we have. Another program we have is Operation Green Ops, which is our aquaponic garden where we're growing our own fresh fruits and vegetables that we use in the pantry, and then our special needs program, which is called Infinite Possibilities. They're kind of tied into that program. So those special needs kids, now what that is a lot of young adult special needs kids that graduate high school. They might physically be 23, 24, but mentally they're still younger. They're 11, 12, 15 mentally, or whatever their situation might be. We have a program for those families that have children like that or young adults like that, so they can get them out of the house. They can be involved in the community. They can do things. So our special needs program actually runs our Green Ops operation, which is our greenhouse operation. And they sell stuff at the farmer's market and do that to build in revenue for their program and help basically put money back into their program. So, we stay pretty busy with all those things. And then let's see, we got Operation. There's so many programs, man. There's so many. But a big part of it is, what we try to do every day is just make sure they're day-to-day living.
So going back real quick to the cakes, the Phantom cakes, this is something that caught my attention on the website when I was looking at it, because when I first saw it, I was like, oh, that's cute. They do, a couple of cakes here and there for, a couple people that, are having birthday parties or whatever. And then I saw the number of cakes that you guys are doing in a month, and it kind of surprised me. Like,
yeah, it skews you over when you think, oh, it's a couple of cakes, but no, it ranges anywhere from 30 cakes to 75 to 80 cakes, and then we do baby shower cakes. They do baby showers. They do operation, unit cakes, and then they do birthday cakes. So they do a lot of cakes. We got a lot of volunteers really pushing it hard to make that program successful. So it's really good.
And that's all volunteers that are doing the cakes?
Yep, they're all volunteer bakers. A lot of them we go to the culinary schools around here, the bakery schools around here, and try to find people that volunteer to do some. They get credit for the volunteer hours, towards their school stuff, but they're also they're bakery students or pastry students. So they're baking for us. They're doing things for us. So they're helping us. So
that's a great idea.
Yeah, we reach out to the community and say, hey, what can we benefit both? We can help you. You can help us. It's great. The people love the cakes. The cakes turn out really. They do them for my kids every year just because I don't ever ask for it, but they always do it just because they want to do it for I have a 5-year-old and a 10 and 11-year-old that always want cakes for their birthdays. So.
That's great. And what about the Monkeywrench shop that you got there? Is that a brick and mortar shop that you're doing this?
Yeah. It's a veteran owned and operated. He owns is a buddy of mine named Wes Lanier. He owns Techstar Automotive. They're right down here off Rancier in Texas here near Fort Hood. And what he did was I sat down with him one day and said, look, we know that vehicle repair is one of the biggest needs for soldiers nowadays, because they got one car, they got two, or they're 2-car family, and they one car does all the running to school and all that. The other one takes them to work. So we got to do something, to get you some work, to get you some money, to bring in some money for your shop, but also help these soldiers get back on the road. So they're not, they're not having issues getting to work, or the veterans getting issues getting to work because we know they may get fired because they can't get to work. So me and him sat down and came up with a plan. I said, look, I gave him a tax sheet. He donates 35%. I put in 35%, and the soldier puts in 30%. So, it worked out where it was feasible for him. It was feasible for us. We only do so many cars a month because, we only have so much budget money for it. But like this afternoon, we just did a vehicle for a soldier who just came back on emergency leave from his wife being sick in the hospital, and her car was having problems. He came to us and we got his car repaired for him. So then when he goes back to Afghanistan, his wife's vehicle will be at tip-top shape and running back to normal. So he'll be good to go.
That's good.
Yeah, it's a big hit for us to help him and his wife. And, they've been with us for a little while too. So they understood how it worked and they came and did everything right. So it just keeps everything moving. So
yeah, that's important. Somebody that's going in there deploying again, they need to have their head where it needs to be. They don't need to be worrying about what's happening back here at home.
Yep, and that's a big part of what we're trying to do. With everything we do. Because another one of our big programs is Operation Feed Our Heroes, which is our Nancy Miller Food Pantry, which is probably our biggest program and has the biggest impact on most people. Because the way, and I really didn't get into this, but I guess the way that our nonprofit works is we ask the individual soldiers and veterans to donate once a month to become a Phantom Corps member, so to speak. So they're actually part of the nonprofit. So they feel like not only are they assisting themselves, but they're assisting everybody else who comes and uses our nonprofit program. So a big part of it is when they become donors, they get to use our food pantry is open 8 times a month. Okay. And if you get a chance to look at our Facebook page, you can see every Thursday and Saturday we post our menu board of what we have for the pantry. And we're not a pantry that just gives out canned goods and macaroni and cheese and stuff. We give out meat, fresh fruits and vegetables, breads and pastries, things families can turn and make meals out of. So, I like to tell everybody when they're signing up, they ask questions about the pantry. I said, look, if you come all 8 times, you get anywhere between $300 to $400 worth in value of food based on the amount of food you can get. So you're donating 20 and you're getting back anywhere between $380 and $400 in value. It's a good investment for you. It's a good investment into the charity, the nonprofit. It's a good investment into your family. And then what we average up to 400 people a day coming through that pantry every time it's open. The average is 400 a day. So you're talking 800 a week, 3,200 a month, all year long. So it becomes, we've given out over 3 million pounds of food since we started. So, and that's just to the soldiers and veterans that live here in the Central Texas area. It's not even, everybody we could. Now, we also help out first responders and their families. They qualify for the charity too. So we let the police station know, the fire department know, everybody know that we're there. So if anybody there needs us or whatever.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, it works out. We help a lot of people. So,
so where does all of the funding for this food come from?
Well, it comes from the soldiers and veterans who donate every month. They donate $10 to $20 a month, depending on what their situation is. And then when we collect all that money, it comes usually on the 1st or 15th around those paydays. And then we divide the money up into the programs to spread it out so we can do all our programs. And we've been doing this so long and we've gotten so good at it. We actually spend less than it's less than a penny per pound of food we order because we've got it down to a science. We know how to order it to get it to the most cost-effective way. 15,000 pounds of food every other pickup day, and we only spend like $30, $20. So where we spend most of the money and the cost is the fuel for our box truck and all that kind of stuff to go pick it all up. But it evens out because the pantry subsidizes these families so much that I've had guys that have come in and signed up, and then a month and a half later they're like, "Man, Sergeant V, we got like $100 in our checking account. We've never had money at the end of the month or whatever." I said, "Well, that's because when you go grocery shopping now, you don't have to spend $250. You only got to spend $50 because you're getting a lot of the stuff from us, so you can subsidize, and then that money can be reallocated to where you need to put it for your bills or whatever's going on in your family. But put some in savings. We give my speech, put some in savings and, put it away. But the point is, we're trying to help you live day to day and make it from paycheck to paycheck where you're not struggling as much. And that's the concept of what I did when I built this nonprofit. Was I wanted soldiers to have and veterans to have a way that they can be in more control of their finances without having to really hit their family hard in a different way. $20, you're talking less than $1 a day for one-time donation each month. And then you get their pantry, the free birthday cake program every year for birthdays. We have a Christmas toy program. We have a back to school program for backpacks and school supplies. So, there's so many programs that benefit these guys all year that we tell them, because soldiers have got pride. You're a veteran, I'm a veteran. We all have our own pride issues, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Asking for help sometimes for us can be a little bit more difficult. So the reason I came up with this is, okay, but remember, your $20 you're donating is not only for your family and you're also helping every one of these soldier veterans in this line every week. So there's 400 plus people on Thursday and 400 plus people on a Saturday. Your $20 is helping them, and their $20 is helping you. So we're all helping each other. We're not looking for a handout. We're just helping each other. And that's the concept of how I built it was we can just help each other. We don't have to ask. I don't go out for grants, for $1 million grants for all these companies and spend millions of dollars like some other nonprofits do on spending, $100,000 salaries on, grant writers or marketing people. I'd rather spend that $100,000 on my soldiers and my veterans that come through the charity, that come through the nonprofit, not on a salary for somebody. You know what I mean? So it's more about giving back and taking care. And I tell them, your money is the one that's doing all this. Every time you donate, it goes right into this program, right back into you guys. And they see it. And then the soldier, I've had soldiers been with me the whole time I've been open. And they're like, we ain't never leaving Sarge. And then even when I PCS, I'm going to keep donating because I know what you're doing for all the soldiers here. And I'm like, well, that's the concept. We want you to donate so you can help. And you can actually, great. When you're helping. So that's what the biggest problem is. Yeah.
Are you working with other nonprofit organizations?
Oh yeah, I work with. That's the thing I stress down here in Texas is there's no mission above helping the veterans and the soldiers we help. So there's the Star Group Veterans Group that's here in Coppers Cove, Texas, where I live. There's the Honor the Sacrifice. They're down the road here in Kempner. They're both of those are more global than I am, but they're here. Operation Once in a Lifetime out of Dallas. I work with the Pink Warrior Angels, which is a breast cancer survivor nonprofit for military. So I work with all these guys, and we help each other all the time. We're scratching everybody's back because I told them, I said, if we're not working together, we're not going to maximize what we can do for this community. We have to maximize what we're going to do because if you're wasting my time and your time, if you're trying to be better than me or you're trying to be more, you know what I'm saying? It's not about being better. It's about helping as many people as we can help and making sure they're good. Making sure they got furniture, making sure they got a car, their cars running, making sure they got clothes, making sure they got food, making sure they got their bills, caught up. We don't pay bills or stuff like that. That's not something we do, but a lot of the other charities that I talked about, they help with some of that stuff. So if I recommend them to them, that usually helps them a little bit better because they know they've been vetted by me and they know that, they're not going to run into any kind of issues. So.
Oh, that's great. That is excellent.
Yeah. I will not put up with, because I go to a nonprofit council meeting from our chamber every month. I look at all those other nonprofits and go, look, if we're all not working together, you're wasting your time coming in here because we have to make a difference in the community. The only way to do that is to work together. If I got an idea, I share my ideas with everybody. I'm an ambassador to different, veteran-owned businesses, and I send that to the other charities. Like, look, do this. All you do is you just help promote their stuff. They give you a percentage of the sales back to your charity, but you're helping a veteran-owned business that's going to raise money for your charity. It's not my idea. It's an idea. Just everybody should be using it. We should all be doing it, so that way we can raise more funds to do what we do. So it's not a competition. It's a partnership. So
absolutely. And I imagine, you already mentioned that you have a lot of volunteers helping out with the cakes. I imagine for all of your 9 project or programs that you have going on, you have a lot of volunteers. Is that correct?
I got about 30 that are dedicated, that are there pretty much weekly. And then I got about another 25 or 30 that are, they hit and miss, but they come quite a bit and they help out when they can. And we're always looking for volunteers. That's a big thing. I've literally written about 75 or 80 volunteer service medal awards to send to Fort Hood for active duty soldiers who volunteer for me to help them get those promotion points and, make recommendations and so they can be recognized for all their volunteer work for helping out at the helping us out at the nonprofit down here. So it's I stay busy.
That is the first time that I have heard that. I've got over 100 episodes now that I've recorded,
Yeah.
And that is the first time that I heard anybody that is actually working with active duty military for volunteering and recommending them for service awards.
Old retired Sergeant First Class, you know what I'm saying? I was a first sergeant for a long time, Platoon Sergeant, so I know how to write 638, know how to write it up. So I write it up. I send them a Word document so they can cut and paste it into 638, and then I also send them a PDF document with my signature on it so they know that I created it and it's not modified, so they know the soldier isn't trying to be slick or something. But yeah, I mean, I write them because I want to take care of these soldiers. They're coming on their weekends and their time off, and they're breaking their backs for me, helping me unload all this thousands of pounds of food, or helping me reload or build a shelving system in our receiving department for our donations or something. And I want to give back to these guys, and it helps them because it's a little bit of promotion points. It's another medal for their chest. It makes them feel good about their service and about their volunteer service, and I want them to feel that way. I mean, I also coin them. I had coins made that I paid for out of my pocket, but I coin them. I let them know how much I appreciate them coming in and doing that and taking the extra time away from their families to be here with us. And it's important to give back to your volunteers. I think that's one of the things I stress with my team is that these volunteers, we couldn't do it without them. So there's no point in pretending like we could. I got 5 employees and myself, and then, the rest are volunteers.
Wow.
It's a go kind of thing.
That's great. So for somebody who wanted to volunteer for your organization, what is the process to make that happen?
Well, we have on our website, there's a place in there that says get involved or get involved or volunteer here. But you click on that. There's basically a form you fill out that we have to have on record, that we keep on record with us. Basically, you fill out a little questionnaire kind of thing. And then there's a volunteer orientation you have to attend that we run based on how many volunteer applications we get in. We kind of determine that and get in. But then they go to the orientation, they get a briefing on the nonprofit, what we do, and then we sit down and talk to our volunteers and make sure they're there for the right reasons. Like, we don't take people for community service. Like I tell people, if you want to do community service volunteer time because you did something wrong, then you need to go find a different nonprofit because it's not us. I mean, you need to be here for the right reasons. I want you here because you want to give back to the veteran community or the soldiers or whatever. So we're a little stickly about that, and that's only because I don't want people there because they're just going to be there for that week or 2 weeks and get their hours and then disappear. I mean, that's not what I want. That's not the environment I want to have. I consider my volunteers my family. I mean, they're there all the time. I invite them to my house. We have parties for them. We do dinners and lunches for them because it's just important to let them know that they matter. I mean, we couldn't do this without them, and they're making the impact. So, yeah, but it's online. You go online, you just click on it. It emails us directly, and I'm usually the one that emails everybody back because, I mean, like I said, my staff is small, and I do a lot of the stuff, electronic stuff myself. I do the website, I build that, I do everything. So I kind of stay busy doing a lot of the administrative stuff while my team runs the program. So
nice.
Yeah, we stay busy, man. Those volunteers are gold, though. I mean, without those, we wouldn't have survived as long as we have. So
the site looks good. You got some Joomla skills.
Yeah, well, it's actually getting updated. I'll give you, when we get offline, I'll give you the little page you can go to check out the new page because I told my guys, I said, I got some web developers that do it for free, but I go and sit down with them. Like I was just there this morning. I want to make it more smartphone friendly, so it'll fit better on the screens for smart. Because all these young soldiers and these veterans, everybody's using their smartphones now.
Oh yeah.
So I'm getting it really developed so it's a little bit more smartphone friendly, so we can get it moving a little bit easier. But yeah, it looks good. It's taken a long time to get it to where we're at, but the new page is going to look a little different and it'll be easier to manipulate. Plus, it has a better description of all the programs and. Because I did some videos of me talking about all the different programs, how they work. So if people have questions about them, they can find out more about it without even having to email us. So. Oh,
that's great. That's great. Yeah. And I'm going to put links to all of that in the show notes to make it easy for people to get over to your website. And this one is going to be going out early June. So if your new site is done by then they'll get to see the new one.
Yeah, it'll be the same website. So even if you have it up there, just be a new development.
Very cool.
It'll connect to that.
Well, John, I think we are ready for the final 3 questions.
All right, bring them.
All right. Question number 1, who would you like to hear on a future episode of the Veteran Resource Podcast?
I mean, I don't want to say I think Patrick Sowers from Operation Once in a Lifetime. He's based out of Dallas. It'd be another Texas-based veteran. Me and him worked together for a long time, and he does some amazing things for soldiers and veterans. And I think hearing him talk about his program, getting the word out of what he does would be beneficial to the country because he's worldwide and he does a little bit more than we do. He's been around a little bit longer. They're just a great organization.
Very cool. I haven't heard of that one, so I will definitely reach out.
Yeah, I will. And if you need it, I'll get you all the contact information for him. So.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great. All right, question number 2. What upcoming project has you fired up right now?
All right, you open the door, Jeremy, so get ready. Okay. We actually have two programs that are getting ready to open that are kind of the reason I started this nonprofit. The first one is called Operation Phantom Tranquility. It's going to be I'm going to get these homeless veterans off the street. I'm going to give them jobs, and I'm going to give them somewhere to live.
Yes.
We're going to open up. I got some guys that we're researching to get some land, and then we're going to start a petting zoo. Now, the reason we're starting a petting zoo is twofold. One, soldiers who love to bring their kids. It's free to come in, yada, yada, yada. It'll be a good way to get soldiers and families and veterans and families to come out and do stuff. But the reason I'm doing the petting zoo is this, because a lot of these homeless veterans suffer from PTSD or some kind of psychological challenge because there's a reason that they're in this environment. It could be other things, but what my research has shown and working with the VA up in Temple, Texas, was told me is that most of these guys are PTSD, TBI guys that have some issues being around people. So by having animals as their primary concern, because what I'm going to make them, these guys, they're going to be maintenance guys. They're going to get jobs. I'm going to pay them hourly. They're going to get all that stuff. They're going to give them a little tiny house. I'm working with Habitat for Humanity. Going to build a little tiny house, build a little tiny house community right on the land. So they're going to live there on the land, work there on the land. They're going to get paid. They're going to have jobs. They're going to have all that stuff. I got mental health coming in to, offer them free groups and things like that to kind of keep them on tilt, keep them off tilt so they can continue to be successful. But that's the goal. That's the one big project. That's pretty much the reason I started the charity to begin with, the start of the nonprofit to begin with, because that's what it meant the most to me, is getting the homeless guys off the streets, get them employed, get them back into society, give them an opportunity to get their life back together. The other program is called Operation Giving Care. And what that program is it's for the caregivers out there that are taking care of our veterans that are disabled to the point where they can't functionally work anymore, or they can't do anything without somebody being next to them side by side. So we're basically coming up with a program to help those caregivers. There'll be a day respite for them at a spa or whatever. There's going to be a house cleaning program that's going to be put in place so that somebody comes to clean their house when they're out at appointments, lawn care service, meal preparation where they'll get meals that are pre-cooked and ready. All they have to do is heat them up so the wife hasn't come home after taking her husband to the VA for 3 hours and have to cook. She can just take it out of the freezer, throw it in the oven, heat it up, and then they're ready to go. So she saves her some time. So programs like that, those are the two big ones that we got coming up. Hopefully it'll be open here in the next 6 or 8 months. We'll get them rolling. And then that way we've got the whole gamut of everything that we can cover. And that's my big apple in the sky, so to speak, because that's going to change a lot of things around here in Central Texas. And I can't imagine what it'll do once we start getting chapters out there and they're all doing it.
Yeah, that is incredible.
Yeah. So it's a big deal. So yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, and this one is the brain stretcher, the last question. If you woke up tomorrow and you found out that somebody made an anonymous donation of $10 million to your organization, what would you do with it?
Well, those two programs I just talked to you about, they would be moving because, we would have the fun. I mean, that's all we ever look for is funding because we're always just kind of on standby. But it would be, first of all, it would be amazing. And there isn't a thank you card big enough or long enough that I could write to whoever did it or do whatever we could. If it was anonymous and I never knew, I'd be kind of petrified that, the anxiety level might go up because it might be one of those, Hotmail things where you say the prince from New Jersey. But anyway, I think the money, here's what I would tell you now, what I would guarantee you. The money would go back into our soldiers and veterans. 100% of that money would get used to take care of these guys and take care of their families. And that's great. I couldn't even imagine, what I would be able to accomplish. And I would help other nonprofits too. I'd probably give a big chunk to a lot of these nonprofits that I work with just because I know it would help them, push their nonprofit to a level where they could do more and we could grow together. And I think I would probably, half that money I would probably put with us and the other half I would spread out to all those other nonprofits to make them better and stronger and be able to get the staff they need or whatever they needed to get where they need to get to so we can all grow together. Because if one of us grow too fast, the other ones can't catch up. And then I'm saying I'd want to do more. So that's probably what I would do. Half would go to us, and then the half I would probably spread out to help these other guys, take off with their own charities or nonprofits.
Yeah, I love that. For that person out there that's got $10 million or a little bit less maybe. And
I'll take a dollar.
Exactly. If for that person that wants to donate, one more time, John, can you give us the best way to get in contact with you?
Well, you can get hold of us through the website. There, it's pretty easy. But to get hold of me directly, you can call me on you can call me. I'll give you my cell number. You can email me. Our email address at the charity is just info@phantomsupport.org. Our website has stuff where you can donate right online anyway, so you can hit the donate button and you can There's recurring donations that can be set up for you monthly. You can do it annually. You can do it one time. You can pick an amount. You can do a lot of things. So there's a lot of different ways, but definitely email is probably the best way, because I got about, my smartphone blows up every day, so I got a million. But yeah, I would definitely take the time, and it would be you would change the world. I mean, you literally would change the world down here in Central Texas if a donation came in that large, or even if a donation came in for half of that, or a third of that, or an eighth of that. I mean, it would change things down here significantly, because, it's not a very high income. The median income down here is about $27,000 a year per, that's the medium income in our area. So there's not a lot of expensively rich people living around here, that are driving Bentleys or nothing like that. So, this is a pickup truck kind of territory, So
yeah,
we're in Texas, so trucks are more predominant here than anything else. But it'd change a lot. But info@phantomsupport.org, or you can get hold of us. Our phone number's on our website. Our phone number is there, so you can call. If you call, you're either going to talk to me or my wife, because my wife's my assistant. She just is my right hand, not only my life partner, but my partner at work, my partner in life. So she's a amazing young woman who does a lot of great things for the nonprofit, and she's there all the time. So you'll talk to one of us, and we'll definitely help you make the donation go through.
That's awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show, John. And I will make sure that I do what I can to push this out there and get everybody in your area to know about your organization, and keep going at it. I'm looking forward to you guys getting a strong foundation there, and I would love to see chapters start up around the country.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jeremy, the first time the one stops up, I'll make sure I shoot you an email, let you know what's happening.
Absolutely. And if I'm down in Texas, I'm going to give you a call. I'm going to come out and check out your operation.
I'd love to give you a tour. Yeah. There will be a virtual tour on our new website too. I got a video team coming in. They're going to do a virtual tour of the whole thing, so people can see what it's really like to go through actually signing in and going through the pantry and doing the different things with the charity. So the nonprofit. So yep.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, John. You have a great day.
You too, Jeremy. Thanks, bud.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope that you got a lot out of it. And if you are down in the Texas area, you should definitely check out Operation Phantom Support. All of the information is going to be on the show notes page, which you can find at veteranresourcepodcast.com/103. That'll take you right to the page. There'll be links at the bottom where you can get over to their website. You can shoot John an email. You can get connected with them. Also, don't forget to check out the Patreon page. You can find that at patreon.com/Jeremy Paris. That's all I have for you today. I'll see you tomorrow for episode 104.